The McDonald's Corporation is one of the most significant and ubiquitous symbols of America to ever exist. Like it or not, the fast food chain has come a long way since it's opened its doors in 1955. With its infamously unhealthy food, obsession with corporate marketing, an iconic logo making the once small-time business a juggernaut in the food industry. One of the many facets that has contributed to McDonald's popularity throughout the years is its appeal to children. While you could certainly say that the advertisement specifically directed towards them could have something to do with it, their success in the young demographics can also most certainly be attributed to their iconic Happy Meal, complete with a toy. First introduced in 1977 and becoming a national addition to the menu in 1979, the McDonald's Happy Meal quickly became a staple in the world of fast food. After a few years, as luck would have it, America would begin experiencing an extreme economic boom that would last all throughout the 80s, giving the restaurant chain a chance to expand on a level that may not have been possible otherwise. In order to tap into the now lucrative market of children, McDonald's began to allow different IPs to purchase the rights to have toys of their likeness sold in Happy Meals. It was a win-win situation. These companies would get some of the best advertising they could hope for, and McDonald's got to draw people in with the promise of a new line of toys every few months. McDonald's also became known for selling collector's items outright to customers, becoming a purveyor of cheap novelty items as well as fast food. But as with anything in this world, this model of advertising was not without its faults. Over the years, many other fast food chains would attempt to copy the success of the McDonald's toy formula, with some occasionally facing massive controversy and government scrutiny after toys malfunctioned or turned out to be serious choking hazards for small children. McDonald's, being as large as it is no exception to this, and today we will be discussing one of their biggest oversights, potentially leading to the harm of millions of young children across the country. Around the same time as McDonald's expansion into the world of manufactured goods, another large franchise was beginning to take shape. After being introduced in comic form in the 70s, the fat and lazy cat known as Garfield would soon become a popular and beloved character, spawning toys, general merchandise, and several movies, being recognizable by many even today. It's only natural that the two would collaborate with each other, and it was around this time McDonald's would unveil mugs with Garfield's likeness painted onto them for promotional purposes. Customers had the option to simply purchase the mugs outright with any meal, so it could be stated that these are technically not kids' meal toys, but rather novelty items available for everyone to purchase. However, it is undeniable that the primary demographic for these mugs was younger generations, and they were often purchased with kids' meals for small children. These mugs would go on to become household staples, with millions being sent to homes across America. The glass Garfield memorabilia in recent years has been sold on sites such as eBay as vintage items. I myself own a few of these mugs, and they are not uncommon even now, as many have kept them for years as they are extremely nostalgic. In addition to this, the fact that it's made completely out of sturdy glass and not cheap plastic has allowed many of these mugs to remain relatively unchanged, with the exception of paint fading over time. However, over the years, many have discovered a dark secret behind these mugs and have made their findings known online. On October 11th, 2019, an internet user by the name of Lead Safe Mama, also known as Tamara Rubin, published an article detailing the dangerous amounts of lead found in these same Garfield cups. In it, she revealed that the lead concentration was a whopping 99,300 ppm. To put that into context, the article states, "In currently manufactured items marketed and sold as items intended for use by children, 90 ppm lead or greater is considered illegal in the paint, glaze, or coating. 100 ppm lead or greater is considered illegal in the base substrate." Even by the standards of the time, this was an excessive amount of lead, and it's dangerous as one of the side effects of massive lead intake is brain damage. The cups also possess a high level of cadmium, something that has been linked to cancer when excessive amounts of it are consumed. For those of you out there who question the legitimacy of Lead Safe Mama as a source, you would not be the first to do so. Most people do not take kindly to being told memorabilia memorabilia from their childhood is actually poisonous and potentially harmful to their health. Her legitimacy as a source was questioned by Snopes in March of 2019. In it, they dive into her history, stating that she led a non-profit organization dedicated to lead safety in 2011, but that she was, quote, ousted for mismanaging funds. Snopes would later go on in the same article to analyze her method of lead inspection, which included using a handheld XRF to detect lead, and in the end concluded that her methods were indeed valid and fairly accurate. Now, as Snopes points out in the article as well, it should be noted that XRF scanning alone cannot determine the risk of ingestion of lead. But because we are talking about a specific product that is meant to be drunk out of, I think it's safe to say that her analysis of the mugs being potentially dangerous is in fact valid. She would later go on to publish a 3-minute long video in which she talked about the lead content of the mugs in more detail.
My name's Tamara Rubin, tamararubin.com, leadsafemama.com, and I'm here to talk to you about the fact that these are painted with lead paint, seriously high lead paint.
Even later, in the month of April 2022, a post warning people about the dangers of these mugs would go viral on Twitter, garnering over 37,000 likes. Most of the replies to this post were memes making light of the situation, while others doubted the legitimacy of the claims altogether, though these were certainly in the minority. Another aspect to the story is that most people online have continuously asserted these Garfield mugs come from the time period of 1978 or 1980. This has caused some confusion to when the mugs were actually made and sold. Upon looking at most of the listings, you'll see many people referring to the mugs as being from 1978 due to some of the glasses having the copyright date of 1978 printed on the side. However, all of these mugs are most likely from 1987. All of the commercials advertising the product are dated as being from this year, which would make sense due to the fact that the cartoon version of Garfield advertising the cup in the commercial was first introduced in 1982 and the animated short Here Comes Garfield. Back to the original point of the date of the glasses, the copyright is most likely referring to the dates of the actual comics or characters printed on them. The copyright date doesn't necessarily reflect when the actual product was manufactured or released. To use an example, I bought this set of Yu-Gi-Oh cards a few years ago. At the bottom of the cards, you'll notice that it states that the copyright is for 1996, despite the fact that these cards were produced much later than that. Though this date would later be updated in 2020, you get the basic idea. My point is that the copyright date does not necessarily reflect when the product was actually made, just when the copyright was established. In combination with the other evidence we have gone over, it can be assumed that these mugs are in fact from 1987, not from the initial thought time frame of 1978 to 1980. Interestingly enough, however, there are 2 articles from the year of 1977 discussing a high amount of lead being present in McDonald's glasses. One of them is a piece created by the Associated Press reading, "McDonald's has suspended promotion and distribution of its Glasses to Go program, but it disputed the accuracy of earlier tests that led the Massachusetts Health Department to raise an alarm about the glasses' possible lead hazard." The article would go on to state, "On Friday, the Massachusetts Health Agency announced that tests by an Environmental Protection Agency chemist showed the painted cartoons had a lead content up to 18 times the level allowed by the state." The other article, published and since digitized by the New York Times, would report on the matter in a very similar fashion. This article is a bit more unique, however, as it contains a quote from a spokesperson for the manufacturer of the cups, who stated that they were safe and posed no health hazard at all, a statement that has obviously aged quite poorly. Despite these articles seemingly being about the Garfield mugs, they don't reference Garfield at all, making it most likely that these are referring to other collectible McDonald land glasses that were being produced at the same time, with beloved characters such as Grimace being featured on the glass. These mugs too would contain an extremely high amount of lead. This means that there are 2 established occasions when drinking glasses were produced en masse for McDonald's with a potentially deadly amount of lead being painted onto them each time. The first time being the McDonald's character cups in 1977, and the second being the Garfield mugs in 1987. They were worn the first time with officials stating these glasses had the potential to be dangerous and exceeded the safe amount of lead for a children's product, then continued to do the same exact thing almost a decade later, showing a blatant disregard for safety. Though it's to be expected that a company as large as McDonald's wouldn't care about the safety of its consumers and put profits first. Shockingly, even these two occasions would not be the last time McDonald's would get in trouble for selling character-themed cups. In 2010, McDonald's began selling promotional cups for $2 in order to promote the film Shrek Forever After. These glasses were discovered to have an extremely high amount of cadmium in them, which, as stated earlier, has been linked to cancer, a real problem when the people who will be drinking out of them are small children.
And is quite toxic in terms of human exposure. So it's known to be a carcinogen. It bioaccumulates in the body, can damage the kidneys, and in young children there's recent research that indicates that it can cause learning disabilities and permanent loss in IQ.
McDonald's would immediately stop the sale of these cups and issue a recall, with the total amount of glasses being over 12 million. Out of all the controversies McDonald's has faced over the years, these are seemingly small incidents, but nonetheless ones that they would probably rather you forget. Here's just to hoping that the fast food juggernaut doesn't start producing dangerous glasses anytime soon.